Hi, everyone. This is again International Studies Days edition of 2022, and we're still online. People say that COVID-19 is done, but I just saw some news, recent news, that even in the the roast of the president, journalists stayed so close together that now they are sorry because some of them got sick. So people are kind of too early not wearing masks anymore. Anyhow, let's come back to the panel of today. We were supposed to have 4 people present. Unfortunately, Lorna Kurdi, that was, the representative of World Affairs Council of St. Louis, just told me that her mother is sick, so she has to take care of her, unfortunately. But hopefully this is not a very, very serious health matter. And we are still waiting for Bruno Nobre, who's the owner and operations director of Minas Espresso. We collaborated with them with INPS in previous year. I didn't receive any warning from him that he won't be present, so we'll see. But the 2 people present here in the panel called the State of Organizations with an International Focus in Our Region. And in this edition, I put together for-profit organizations versus for non-profit organizations. And we're going to talk today with Han Ko, who is the founder and CEO of USACO Group, an international investment company. The introduction is in the program, and I am sure that he can introduce briefly himself. And also afterwards, we will talk to Diraj or Dave Kumar, who is a technology executive and founder of EAI Vision LLC, a company that provides software solutions to small and large business organizations in finance, banking, airlines, and government across the globe. And also he's going to talk about the St. Louis chapter of ASHA for education. So Han, please take the floor. And if you have a PowerPoint presentation, you can take the screen over and take us through your presentation.
All righty, great. Thank you so much, Soren. It's always a pleasure. I'm gonna start my sharing. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. I see that suddenly. Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure. I think I've been here about this the 4th year or something like that. For
yes.
a while, and it's such always a pleasure and also honored to be here. And thanks to Professor Natasha, and then also Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville. And especially International Study Days program is actually a great program, because as I expanded, I engaged in this program about several times now. And based on my background, international investment and then trade, I do see a great value that student can get out of. And then also in terms of the regional connection that SIUE has. So I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I'm gonna basically talk about this, my topic on this under the International Study Days program today, okay? And I'm trying to move to next slide. Here we go, got it. You see, okay, the slides moving forward? Okay, good, thank you. All right, so I put a word that go global with USACO Group, okay? So this is actually part of SIUE International Studies Days program, but Go Global with USACO Group is actually my company's unique program, and we are basically try to bridge between US and South Korean market, and we actually work beyond the South Korean market, but we focus on a South Korean market on this under this program. Okay, so I'll talk more about that on next slide. Here we go. So you see the pictures. I prepared these pictures. So throughout today's presentation, I'm sharing a lot of pictures, because one picture shows 1,000 words, right? We say, right? So these are all the pictures that you see on the slide today will be actually the pictures that I or my staff took during the period. Okay, it could be in USA, it could be overseas. Okay, so I just want to show you with that. Okay, so under the program called the Go Global with USA program, we actually invited 5 companies. They were here in the first week of April, about 3 weeks ago, and then they visited Southern Illinois and then the St. Louis side, okay, Greater St. Louis. Okay, so on the left here, if you see, we have several, actually more than about 8 people standing. These are all, delegates from Korea. They're all business owners looking for opportunity to expand their business to USA. That's the picture on the left here. On the picture on the right, you see that this is actually a meeting we had with the Chamber of Commerce in Southwestern Illinois, Chamber of Commerce, as well as there's an organization called SIUE, okay, Southwest Illinois Trade and Investment Council. Actually, I'm a board member there, but actually we put together, so it had a great attendance there. So we basically connected, see at the small table, this is the people who I brought, 5 companies, and then along with all these professionals in the industry, along with political leaders. There were congressmen and then also mayors as well. So okay, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about me, my background, so you know where I'm coming from. My name is Han Ko. I'm a president CEO of USACO Group. This USACO Group, I'll talk more about it, but it's an international investment company. And basically, I'm an investor and mentor of various investment company, like venture capital company. For example, USACO Group is a company that I founded, but I'm also a part of MVP, Terranim Ventures, venture capital firm, and Wifax. These are, Trailing Venture VC is actually fund size is about 100 million. And the Wifax is about 50 million, and it's managed by Morgan Stanley. And then also, regionally, Kepler University, I'm there with their firm as well. And then along with the other technical organizations, which is robotics and blockchain and NFT associations, they're part of a nonprofit organizations. Also, I founded and invested in multiple technical startups. I'll go over that, some of that later. For the sake of students, try to give them some exposure in what's going on in the world, in technically and then investment world, right, in the international setting. Okay, and also I'm a professor and director of a business incubation center at Midwest University. So I hope that I could bring value to SIUE as well, as a professional in academia as well. And also I serve on the board of Chamber of Commerce locally, and along with the St. Louis County, and then Southern Illinois Economic Development, economic EDOs and economic development organizations as a board member, and along with the OCA, other nonprofits as well. Okay, so go global with USACO Group. I said that several times now. So let's step back here and let's talk about what does USACO Group do? What do we do? Okay, and then what can we learn and gain out of? What can we meaning that the people in the SIUE community, especially under international studies program, what can we learn from this program? And then also, let's talk about the actual program we did, what we did and why did it, okay? And what was the goal, okay? And then also I'll talk about those 5 specific companies visited in Illinois and St. Louis area a few weeks ago, okay? And the picture down here, I told you that I'll have more than several pictures throughout the slides. And this is one of the pictures taken in actually South Korea 2019 under the name of Go Global USA program. And then people, you see that, I don't know if you can see this well, but people sitting in the front row, there are people from USA. I brought about a dozen companies, dozen professionals to South Korea back then, 2019, right before pandemic. And so actually, you probably recognize a few people there. About 3 people are from St. Louis area. So, okay, so without further ado, so USACO Group, what do we do? Okay, well, basically, we are an international investment company operating in USA and South Korea. The headquarters in USA, and I live in USA. I'm the president, CEO, and founder of this company. So USA is our main hub, but we do have an office in South Korea. I have an office and a staff in South Korea. So our portfolio means the companies we invested in, okay, includes US companies, of course, and South Korean companies, and some European companies as well. So we identify good companies, international setting, and then we work with them, we invest in those, and then we help them to be successful. That's our business model, okay? So we're a for-profit company, of course. So we're a venture capital company. And our goal is, under this program, Go Global with the USACO Group, go to USA or go to South Korea. We're trying to be a solid bridge between USA and South Korean market. Okay. All right. So just a few more words about my company. It's a USACO group. It's actually, we're a scale-up company. Okay. So basically, we, like I said, we identify businesses, and then we identify, meaning that, you know, companies with the potential, we'll actually work with them with the fund, talent, mentoring, guidance, advisors, and consultation, anything that needs. Okay, that's what we do both ways. Okay, both ways, meaning that bring companies over from Asia to USA, and then US companies to Asia and beyond. Okay, and global stage. So we also, what's unique about us is that we have a status called official global partner of South Korea. Actually, so meaning that we are actually work with South Korean government. So we recognize by South Korean government as a official global partner. So what it means is that we work with the multiple governmental agencies, private sectors, and also the universities in South Korea. So if I name a few, Seoul Business Agency is a part of Seoul, city of Seoul, and then Jeollabuk-do Business Agency. This is actually a one of provincial government business economic development agency, and Jeollanam-do, and then Ulsan, and KAIST. KAIST is actually, I'll mention that later more, but KAIST is like a top tech university in South Korea. It's like MIT basically. Okay, and it's nationally funded tech program in 1960s, and then they're a top school right now in Korea, like MIT, and then some other universities. Okay, so these are what we do with the South Korea. And of course, we have a collaboration with multiple organizations USA, but I didn't list them because you know, everybody probably have more interest in overseas focus. Picture on the left. This is a picture taken about, I believe, April 9th. This picture at the Arch Grants. Okay, so you see that the director, he's Gabe. He's the director of the program, and we were meeting with them. They invited us to talk about our companies that I brought from South Korea. And then we will have meeting with them because all these companies, 5 companies, has the intention to find a presence in USA. Okay, so I want them to come to our area. Okay, and then to the right, it's a picture taken again, I think next day, April 10th, I believe. No, I'm sorry, April, what is it? 7th, I guess. I got dates wrong here. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah. So this is the banquet dinner. We were invited, dinner reception hosted by Chamber of Commerce and then law firm Sandberg Phoenix in St. Louis downtown. So again, we were connecting with the business community in St. Louis and the Illinois area, Southern Illinois area, for their expansion to U.S. market. Okay, so USACO Group, all right, our presence. Well, of course, we have a headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri, which I live, and we have offices in Los Angeles, in Houston, and then also in Seoul, South Korea. Okay, so more pictures. This is South Korea right here, and this is a picture taken in South Korea, 2019, right before pandemic. We hosted a program. This is actually a picture taken when I brought about a dozen U.S. companies over to South Korea. We hosted in one of the campus called the Seoul Startup Hub. Actually, it's biggest incubation center in South Korea, and I have an office there. So we host the program there for 4 day of hosting 4 day of conferences there, hosted by my company and then with South Korean government. So this was that picture from there. And this picture right here is actually from St. Louis. St. Louis actually right there, St. Louis picture. This was actually program is under the Venture Cafe, as you probably know, and some of the students you probably know. I would suggest you look it up, Venture Cafe. It's a program where entrepreneurs and investors and in industry professionals meet together and discuss. And because of pandemic, we changed to a setting online, but we just started doing this in person about a week ago. As a matter of fact, I'm invited another the guest speaking engagement tonight, actually, at 5 p.m. So if you happen to have time, come on by at the CIC. And I'm actually a regular guest speaker there. And then tonight happened to be the one. So at 5 p.m. in Havana Room at CIC. CIC means a Cortex Innovation Center in St. Louis downtown. And this picture was taken at that 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018, and then we were doing a program. So this picture from there. Okay. So like I said, for students and maybe some faculty members in this SIUE community, there are multiple resources and venues, activities going on at any given time. Especially pandemic is hopefully almost over, so we can meet in person. So we'll have just more and more of these. And if you're not sure, just follow my company, USACO Group. You can Google, find a web page, as well as a Facebook or LinkedIn. We're all there, so you can actually see our activity, follow us. Then you'll be able to get exposure for these opportunities that we engaged in and beyond. Okay, so then, what is Go Global with USA USACO Group? Okay, what is it for? Okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Like I said, this program is annual program hosted by my company. And every year we partnered with different entities, okay? So, but last several years, we partnered with the South Korean government because they invited to work with them. So we work with them. And then, this is actually another one of program we just finished in first week of April. I see that right here, April 4th through 8th. We did that. So we co-hosted by, my company and Seoul Startup Hub, which is a city of Seoul. And then through the program, we brought 5 companies, and these 5 companies actually we accepted about 100 applicants, and then South Korean government, my company, vetted and then selected, and then these 5 companies finally came over to our area, Illinois and Greater St. Louis area. Okay, so and then. I want to just point out that these 5 companies, they just didn't come here to look around. They have a serious intention and to open their U.S. Presence in U.S. market, okay? Because we invest, these 5 companies, when you select them, we invest in these companies, okay? So my company is a partner with them already, okay? So this is not a just look around and business pleasure travel. This serious business we do, and then they're all here. So I'll talk more about that or each of them later. Basically, these 5 companies, when we select them, we try to select based on various industry sectors, based on current trend and in U.S. Midwest market that we're in, especially. So you'll see that there's a few manufacturing companies and few high-tech software companies, and then 1 environmental solution company. So you'll see all of those, and that is a trend that we believe our global market is going, and we try to basically try to stay on the top. Okay, and then at the last bullet says the USACO Group as an investor for those selected companies. Yeah, of course we are investor for all of those, like I said. Okay, now more pictures. So this is a picture from 2019. Okay, on the left, picture taken in Seoul, South Korea. Like I said, you probably recognize, I don't know, a few people. There's a few people, Jim, he's part of my company, board member. His company, company he founded is valued now, actually, was sold at $1.1 billion to 2020. At the end, December of 2020, was sold. So he did something right? And so we work with a lot of people, be successful in what we do. And so this a picture with some Korean. Actually, there were a few Korean students actually came. I recognize their faces here. But anyway, yeah. So that's a picture on there. And then this picture in 2019, and this was on the left in October 2019. We did that in St. Louis, the World Trade Center. They invited us there. We invited us, meaning that those companies that we brought 2019, we actually did our presentation and then met with the networked. So that was 2019 at World Trade Center picture. Okay, well now then fast forward April of 2022. More pictures, right? As I promised, I said I'm going to show a lot of pictures today. So here's on the left. This is a picture taken from the meeting with the Illinois State Department of Commerce. So I don't know if you noticed her or not. She's Margot. She's actually a director of DOC, Department of Commerce, State of Illinois. So she came all the way down from Chicago to meet with us. So these are the company reps from South Korea, and there are several more people sitting behind it. But this is a picture from there. Okay, just want to share that with you. And then Amy, she's sitting right next to her. She's the head of the Chamber of Commerce in the area. She also attended along with that. So I don't know what you noticed or not, but the pictures we took recently is a lot smaller in scale because we planned it because we didn't know how the pandemic will go. We planned this program July, starting planning this July of last year, and we didn't know how pandemic will go. So we were pushing. We didn't know, you were going to, it's going to be have to online or offline. It's like any other program. We had a lot of different directions. What should we do? So we were actually, we were struggling in making a decision, but we pushed it. So we decided to make a lot of smaller meetings instead of several large meetings. So we actually did the total 17 meetings and the meal receptions in 1 week. Can you believe that? 17. So minimum 3 every day. So we actually, these people from South Korea, like I said, they were here serious intention. Okay, they didn't come here to just have fun. They did have fun. Okay, so we did a boat tour, all that, but it was geared toward a serious business about it. And yep, so hope that some of the students in SIUE understand that when international business people, they don't just go wine and dine and have fun. They work really hard. Okay, I just want to let you know that. Okay, if you go in that direction. And then on the right picture again, I take a few weeks ago. This is again World Trade Center. We were invited, and this is a picture from there. So we work, like I said, we work with a lot of different organizations, not just governmental, but a lot of private sector companies as well. Okay, well, more pictures. I thought that you have some idea of what we've been doing. So on the picture on the left is America Central Port, Illinois, Granite City. So they invited us during the week, so we went there, and then actually they invited us to a boat tour as well, so we did that too. So but the director Dennis sitting right there, he invited us that we actually discussed the ways that we can work together, and then we're trying to basically all bring value to each other. Okay, and then on the right, this is this is the program hosted by Southern Illinois Trade and Investment Council, SIUE, which I'm board member of, and then also the regional chamber of commerce, and then like I said, some political leaders there with the congressmen from Illinois and the mayors were there, and then so we had a very productive meeting then, along with the multiple other professionals in industry. Actually, a lot of industry sectors leaders came as well. Okay, so the goal is nutshell. The goal is goal of this program, Go Global with USACO, is to bring U.S. and South Korean market closer by sharing investment and soft landing pad. Okay, so soft landing pad meaning that investment, of course, any business, come to new market. So let's say for Asian company to come to USA, number one, they have the money, fund, right? So we are part of the fund investment. So, and then we can actually help out there along with the other investors. And also soft landing pad, meaning that from mentoring to consultation to any guidance or networking, we try to provide those tools so that they can be successful. Okay, so this is one example of that. So the Go Global program is a program where we can provide value to global. But one thing though, we're not just trying to bring value to the companies and for ourselves. I live here, and I have a strong believer of that. I want to make a contribution to our economy, okay, to our market. So for example, Southern Illinois, St. Louis, St. Charles area. So bring investment training. So when they come, they don't just come empty-handed. They come with their investment, their own money, right? So we are strong believer that by bringing U.S. and South Korean market, by integrating basically fund and talent together, we create a synergy in both sides, and then create jobs, create opportunities for young generation, like let's say SIUE International Studies Program graduates looking for a job. They could be a job created by these programs. Okay, and that's what we do. Okay, so we, again, like I said, we are a for-profit company, but we do have a lot of non-profit element to it. That's our philosophy. Okay, so we actually work together like that. So on the left picture, this is picture taken 2018, and these are portion of the some people who traveled with me to explore their presence in South Korea. So kind of vice versa, right? So U.S. companies, we brought U.S. companies to South Korean market. This was actually a program. If you see that behind the character, this is actually picture taken at an international investment conference hosted by South Korean government. So they created a small VIP program for us. We were participated, and then we met a lot of investors, and along with the companies we can collaborate in South Korea. And on the right, I think I showed you that picture already. So this picture with the director of DOC Illinois. Okay, now let's talk about the value. What value is in South Korea and Greater St. Louis, and reciprocally, especially Southern Illinois and area, right? So let's talk. So to do that, let's talk about the South Korean opportunities, the opportunities that South Korean market can bring. Okay, so South Korean market is very interesting in a way that they have very strong interest and willingness to globalize their market, and then boost the economy and create jobs. Okay, and for example, this is a picture. Again, the picture taken 2019. When I brought the U.S. professionals to South Korea. So there's the gentleman sitting right here. He represents Seoul city's inbound company program. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of it. So South Korean government has a program annual program where they invite foreign companies into their soil, and then they don't just invite, they actually said they have a grant program. Okay, grant meaning that they give away free money, anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000. So if you fit in the criteria, you'll be awarded. And then they also, a lot of times they give you the subsidy for your rent, because Seoul is very expensive, like Manhattan. So they give either free office or subsidy to office rent. And for example, I have 2 offices in South Korea. One of them is given by South Korean government. So that's why I maintain 2 offices. So in other words, South Korean government is going that far just to globalize their market and their economic development and job creation. Okay, so this is how they operate, and there's multiple opportunities out there. Again, any students, any people in the SIUE community interested in, and they can reach out to me later. And then as a global partner of South Korean government, I'm usually the first one to know about those information, and I'm actually at the forefront to recruit. I'm usually pre-selection process at the beginning. So we have a lot of information that I can share with anybody who is interested in. And again, talk more advantages of the South Korean market. Okay, so like I said, there's a tremendous support from South Korean government sector. Okay, from grant to other support systems. Okay. And also the industry is very motivated as well to bring in the foreign professionals. Okay, Samsung, LG, Hyundai, SK, they got their own program. Actually, I'm involved within a few of these companies' program. So they are very active in that. I know that for sure. And for the I put a good testbed market. Okay, so South Korean market is, I don't know you notice or not, it's their customers expectation is very high. Okay, to a point where them number one, they said they want the best quality of product and services, and they want it really in timely manner. Okay, so it's really hard to please South Korean customer. Again, I'll give you an example of it. I'm usually giving example of Samsung and Motorola mobile phones. Okay, when Samsung before they release a new the Samsung phone, like now Samsung S20 or something, I don't remember the models anymore, but before they pre-release South Korean market first, just to see what customer feedback is. Okay, and then because if they have enough positive feedback from customers, they most likely their product will be successful. Okay, and that's what Motorola did. Motorola is now, I don't know, from younger generation, you probably don't recognize the name much. Motorola it was bigger than Samsung in one point, and there was a big in mobile phone company. Okay, now we got actually they diminished, but now it got bought out by Google actually. But when Motorola was one of the top company in the world, that's what they did. So they realized the South Korean market's value. So they pre-released their phone before public release. They tested it. So I know for sure because I got an offer from Motorola multiple times back then. So I was able to give a feedback to them. And then, so that's one example that South Korean market is actually very unique in a way that they have very high expectations. So it's good and bad. It's very hard to please, but if you please South Korean market, you most likely survive and be successful. Okay, so these big companies recognize that, and they actually setting up their business strategy in that perspective. And then also South Korean market is very US and Western friendly. So it's very globalized and friendly. So, and again, as a business owner, also all the young students and professionals and professionals to be from SIUE, you probably try to be professional in international global setting someday, and going into a business environment where you're welcomed and friendly is important. Okay, so number one, you feel comfortable. Okay, that's nature. I mean, you cannot be blamed for it because that's nature. But South Korean market is very Western friendly. And because again, number one, US South Korea is actually one of the biggest allies of USA. We have about 27,000 US service personnel, meaning the US military personnel, stationed there right now. And economically, South Korea is very closely tied to USA. So that's basically cannot really separate these two. And then also economy is pretty stable. Stable economy. Also IP. IP stands for intellectual property, because some countries you bring your product in with a very unique intellectual property, and like in 12 months later, somebody else copied it, and then you go out of business. And you have stories many times, right? South Korea, it's not going to happen, because if you do, there'll be severe civil penalties along with the criminal penalties that go with it. So they actually, in a way, their penalties even steeper, because if somebody intentionally copy and then make a profit, not only you have to give all the money back, but they can get prosecuted, they can go to jail for it. So it's a very strictly operated country in terms of respecting intellectual property. So also they have a legal, social, political system is very stable, so that any foreigners can go in and operate their business. And then also I want to just point out that their workforce is very highly talented. You've heard the term, and for those of you students, you heard the term called tiger mom, right? So in Asian countries are tiger moms. So they were really driven to improve their academic skills, and discipline. So they produce a lot of talent skills. I'm not saying it's always a good thing, but they are able to produce the talents there. Okay, and then also geographically, their best entry point to Asian market, because South Korea is peninsula surrounded by Russia, Japan, and China, and then with the biggest US ally, so you can actually find a good entry point. And then also for those of you young generation and students, the K-wave, Korea K-pop, so that's also something you can enjoy. Okay, so more Korean opportunities. I want to summarize it here. I told you about grant program. I told you about ability to network globally. And for example, in the Seoul Startup Hub I told you about, the campus is the biggest business incubation center in the country. They have I have an office there, so I know very much in intimate details there. And also I'm a committee member there, so I can tell you a few things about it. There are about 500 businesses in the incubation center right now, okay? And the campus is, I don't know, you've been to CIC, but our local CIC, Cortex Innovation Center, the size is about 5 times bigger. It consists of multiple buildings. Whole campus is geared toward these startups from younger to old generation, and they are really serious about it. So, and also globalization, I want to give you an example of that. Not only South Korean companies there are multiple companies from all the way from US companies. I met, see, when I go to Korea, I used to travel in every other month in Korea, my office. And when I sit, people come to me and then have a chat with me. And then I met people from, of course, USA to all the way to Kenya, Africa. So Philip, he's one of my favorite guy. Actually, his office is right upstairs. And he actually visited South Korea. He fell in love with the culture, and he opened his own business, and he's there right now. So yeah, he's actually he actually started his own online service company in South Korea for foreigners. Anyway, so that's how example of how market is globalized. Now, one point here is the blue right here, failed startup support program. So one thing interesting is that The incubation program is not only for new beginners, younger generation, but if somebody start a business, it didn't work out, okay? And they really value that. So they will actually, if you go the 4th floor, they set aside a section in there, they'll support failed startup support. So in other words, you start a business, you failed. Well, they want to select some of those professionals and then bring in, give them support, give them some money, and then also office space, and then support system, so that they can be successful second time. Okay, so this will go that far. So in other words, they're very serious in terms of the boosting the industry, and then they're actually not just doing this, but I'll be honest with you, South Korean government is very aggressive. They don't just talk about it, they actually open their wallet and help out. Okay, let me put it that, which I really like about. Okay, so actually also I didn't mention this, but I serve on the board of a presidential advisor to South Korean government. So before pandemic, I get to see South Korean president once a year actually. So I became a lot more aware of intimate details of how they operate in South Korean government as well. So I can help out, I can bring the value, bring the information and bring value to USA, and anybody wants to enter South Korea, I could do that. Anyway, also there's multiple consulting services provided by these incubation center and then companies like me, like a global partner. So we do all that. Okay, well, this is talking about St. Louis and Southern Illinois, so I'm gonna skip that. So now then, what do you guys, what do you do? What are the backgrounds of Yusaku? So, I'm not the only one, I'm president, CEO, and founder, of course, but we have multiple board members on both sides of the ocean. We have a set of good high professionals in USA and high professionals in South Korea. Okay, we have presence in both countries, right? So I have high professionals, and their background industries are very various, from IT, software development, manufacturing, biotech, blockchain, pharmacy, medical, life science, telecom, autonomous vehicle, now EV as well, robotics, agricultural, and then also we included the crypto and mining recently as well, okay, because that's a trend. And field-wise, of course, we have professionals, venture capital investment firm. Like I told you, we have people, one of our board member already started a company, sold the company more than $1 billion, which means unicorn. So we work together as a team. So we are able to handle just about all the industries that the market demands. Okay, so basically, goal is we, try to provide a soft landing pad to U.S. and South Korean companies both ways. Okay, well, those 5 companies, I keep mentioning 5 companies. So what are those, right? So I'll name them and then tell you each of them. So Dawa, it's a name of company. It's ESG. ESG stands for environmental, social, governance, right? Everybody knows this term, right? If you don't, please keep that in mind, because as a student in college, you have to know this is going to be a trend. Okay, don't get behind. So ESG, environmental solution provider. So this company is providing environmental solutions while they're reducing disposable containers. Like, for example, if you go order a coffee this morning from Starbucks, you get a to-go, right? And then what you do with a cup when you're done, you throw it away, right? To create a lot of trash and landfill. So that is the discussion. I mean, that is the item that they want to reduce. Okay. Also, not only that, they are providing the ability to measure carbon footprint reduction. Okay, underscore carbon footprint reduction. Again, for those of you students, you want to keep these keywords in mind, because there's a lot of new career possibility opening out there. Actually, I am working with a couple of professionals, and the problem is I cannot find the professionals in this industry right now. That's a problem that I have right now. Okay. And then they have, of course, they have high-tech hardware, software solutions under filed approved patent already. Okay. So, and then second company is Sierra Street. It's basically a blockchain-based software company for real estate and commodity transactions with the high-tech innovations. And then we actually do a lot with under the patent technology. We have multiple solutions for it. Okay. And then third company is My Price Lie. It's an e-commerce software platform for online marketplace. with again patented the technology and based on blockchain. And this e-commerce platform is geared toward the younger generation. So especially millennium to Z generation. I think most of SIU students will fall into those categories. Okay. And then now there's this alpha generation as well, but you know, I think they're probably anyways, that's it. I could talk about it a little more later. But also the fourth company is Taeyong Industry. It's basically high-tech manufacturing company. Again, it's a manufacturing company for heavy machinery. Their customers already including international multiple multinational companies such as Volvo, Bobcat, Samsung, Hyundai, Doosan, and they have a very unique solution that wants to bring their operation to USA. And then the last, not the least, it's ImageWorks Korea, and it's a high-tech image company, printing material company, and they're serving multiple companies as well, including Coca-Cola, Kodak, Toyota, and else is unique in a way that they do a lot of work for Hollywood industry. So Transformer, the movie, was one of them. They produce like 3D images, posters, and then the marketing material. I've seen it. And then also, I think everybody knows BTS music group for especially the college age students they're a big topic in the idol. So they actually produced the star card, they call it, right? These pictures of these music idol stars. And they produced about 300,000 of them. And this is true story. In November of last year, they printed 300,000 because BTS wanted, and it got sold less than 24 hours. So I have a sample of it. But anyway, so they have a very unique technology in producing those in a quick manner.
Sorry, Han, to interrupt for a moment. It is 10:47.
Okay.
If we can wrap this up, I can explain to you again what are the specializations within the international studies program and suggest you some possibilities for collaboration. Okay, sure, sounds good. Yeah, sure. I'm going to wrap up. So next one is actually perfect timing because next time I prepare a slide for these companies. So I'm just going to show you real quick. So SIUE Street, I told you about. This is the blockchain-based software platform for real estate transaction, as I explained to you. And then let me see here. And then next, oops, sorry. So next one is Dawa, I told you about. This is the environmental company reducing the volume of trash, and their value is bringing these different companies and disposables, and then also measuring the ability to carbon footprint size. Okay. And then My Price, I told you about, e-commerce company, and they based on especially unique algorithm to be able to assist customers to get reward actually based on their online activity. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. And again, my name is Han Ko, and President CEO of USACO Group. And then again, I always a pleasure and honor to be part of this great program, International Studies Days program. And thanks so much again to the SIUE, and thanks so much to Professor Natasha. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Han. It's always interesting to find out about so many opportunities for doing business between the United States and Korea. I put in the chat the link for the International Studies program at SIUE because I wanted to remind everybody if they are watching. And by the way, while you were talking, I received a message from a director from the Department of Music who says that he cannot participate in person, but he was interested in what he saw in International Studies Days as a program. So he was wondering if he can see the recorded video. So that's why I'm recording. I will transform this and put it on YouTube and then put the link on different pages that we have on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I wanted to remind you that, our students can graduate with an international studies program degree, but they go on different walks of life. There's a person who's working now for an international organization based in Illinois, actually in St. Louis, no, that actually facilitates through conferences better relationships between the youth of different nations. So she's been, in the first 2 years after she graduated, she traveled all around the world to Brazil and to many other places. They made a special article about her in one of the publications at the SIUE and in different other publications. I have a former student who works in the military. She's a lieutenant. There's many people with very successful stories. And I see that the new generations are coming with all kinds of interests. And in the past few years, they were interested in studying Korean. And there are so few opportunities to study Korean here, and our requirements are that they have to know a foreign language level 1 and level 2. And we do not teach Korean at the SIUE, but there are some opportunities in St. Louis at one of the universities. But if you can help with that, with learning Korean, with study abroad in Korea, there's these 3 concentration areas that we have: international relations and diplomacy, international art, culture, and communication, and international development and sustainability. And you were talking about a company, I think it was called DAWA, that was doing something like sustainability. Our students will not necessarily be prepared in chemistry and biology and stuff like that to be the specialists behind the process of increasing sustainability, but they could be specialized in policies for sustainability. So these are, opportunities for internships, opportunities for studying the Korean language, opportunities for studying abroad. As I mentioned to you earlier, we need to make a connection if you are interested in something like that, in facilitating something like that, through our international programs, Director Mary Weishar, to have a company that is vetted by SIUE so the students can take credits to study abroad that are recognized at our university. And these are the 2 main opportunities for students to study abroad. If you see in our program, later today, we have a discussion with a panel of people involved in studying abroad. And 2 of them are professors, one from theater and dance, one from another department, I don't remember now, who will be talking about their experiences of taking students from SIUE abroad. But there's a whole department, international programs, that takes care of sending students into vetted programs like IEA, EAC, something like that. And our students in our program have the obligation to study at least for 6 credits in a foreign country, to study abroad for at least 6 credits. So I had in previous years students really, really interested in South Korea, and they were willing to do anything to get to South Korea. It's just that, we have, for example, Chinese being taught at the SIUE, level 1 and level 2. And the professor over there told me that, many people are interested in Japanese, Korean, but they are unfortunately self-taught, which is not helping their purpose. It's not so easy to self-teach yourself, South Korean writing and understanding the culture. And if you do not go there in person, or at least collaborate with somebody who is from South Korea here, you have no chance of really understanding these things. I'm a foreigner in this country. I'm a first generation citizen. And I realize how hard it is, how much time, how many years it takes to really understand the different culture and the language, and to speak words that you usually are not taught through courses or from the dictionary. You have to face the realities of life to really understand how things go, and to learn the idiosyncrasies of a culture. So I'm mesmerized by the range of businesses that you are involved in. If we let you, I think you can talk for hours. And that's a testimony for your connections and for your efforts and for your successful business that is multilateral. But I would like you to think about these things, because I would like this to be transformed into some kind of collaboration, because there is a need. There are students who are interested in something like that, but they have to be educated in different stages. They cannot just come at the university and say, oh, in 6 credits, I'm going to go to South Korea and I'm going to come back after 3 weeks or something and know Korean and be proficient and understand the culture and have a job in the future. So we need a bigger collaboration and something concentrated to help the students who are interested in getting involved in something like that.
Right.
So I don't know, even Dave or Ashley, my student who actually works as an intern for Lorna Kurdi, who wasn't able to participate today, if you have any questions for Han, because my questions were connected to exactly what I just said. How can we connect international studies program better through the concentration areas and through our requirements of study abroad, and have internships and have participation directly with foreign entities? How can we connect them better with such programs, for profit or not for profit?
Right. Actually, that's a really great point, because I mean, this is why I said I really such pleasure and honor to be here every time, because I have business background, right? I focus on business and economic development mostly, and of course I teach in college, of course, like I said, in both in Korea and in USA. But I'm still, at the end of the day, a businessman, right? I forget to see the perspective of the importance of what we can do for next generation, like what the professor, Natasha, you're doing, right? So I really appreciate that perspective. So I think there are many ways we can work together. I think definitely we should sit down, talk more closely, because the way based on your explanation, the need, actually, I do have a platform, like I said, right? I mean, we do this program every year. The last couple of years we stopped it because of pandemic. We still did it online, and then we have a platform where we can actually bring talent back and forth. And interestingly, a lot of South Korean students, when I go to Korea, when I teach in a university, in Korean university, a lot of students are showing interest in getting experience in USA as well. Okay, hey, what it takes. Actually, one of them actually was one of my intern. He's actually from Korea. He showed interest. So he came to USA and then helped out. So there's many ways I think we can work together and bring value to our community, such as the SIUE students, all that, right? So yeah. I think it's a matter of how we can get through the technicality stuff, because I'm sure we have to follow. I'm sure we'll follow the protocol, school set and then program set. Yeah, so it's a matter of clearing out those and then going through. Yeah, so I think that's a great point.
And our students, if they are not necessarily taking credits for studying abroad, they can do internships. They can collaborate for a while with entities that exist here, but have a leg in a foreign country, like in South Korea or in India, and that would be a start. But you have to think about the specificity of the program. If it's sustainability, if it's culture, if it's international relations and diplomacy, we need to find their connections with something like that. Otherwise, they are not business students. They are not necessarily. Well, I had on occasions some students who were double majoring, because international studies can be taken only as a major, as an undergraduate degree, not as a minor. So I had sometimes double majors in international business and international relations. So those people would be more on the business side, but those are rare occasions. So we will need to discuss more on how to find a niche of collaboration between us. I have seen with the School of Business actually a new initiative. If you look at the general program that we have, there will be a speech tomorrow, a presentation by Laura Wolf, instructor in the Economics and Finance Department at the SIUE. She talks about Passport to Success, new international studies options at Southern Illinois University, because she put together a collaboration with the Andean region of South America. And she got an NHS financing. of some $100,000 to start that. So you see, business with government, with the initiative through universities, if we put our minds together and we find the resources, something can be started.
Right.
You know, why don't
Right,
you
right.
put something like that with South Korea? How can it be that there could be a better relation with the nations in the Andean region that don't have the GDP of Korea, and we cannot put something together like with Korea, a bilateral collaboration, or a group of
Right.
students that can be, you know, they don't have to be only international studies students on sustainability, because we have
Right.
the track, but we have a department of sustainability that is studying from the biology and chemistry side. I don't remember exactly how they are called now, but some of my students are taking classes from that department too, if they're interested in sustainability.
Gotcha.
Anyhow, I talk
Right.
too much. Maybe we should
Okay.
give the opportunity for Dave, because it's 11:01 and I don't want to keep you beyond 11:30. Han told me that he has a business lunch meeting at 12, so he needs to leave at 11:30. So let's give the floor to Dave. Thank you very much, Han.
Thank you.
Sure. So do I present from my desktop?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, at the bottom, there's the green share screen button. Press on that and make sure that you select your desktop. If you hover at the bottom, if you move the mouse, all right.
Do you see it?
Yes,
Can you
now
see
I
it?
can see. Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. Let me see if I can do it better. By the way, Hanko, that was great presentation. It really opened my mind, you know. I feel like going to South Korea right now, you know, and do something.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, if they say, I work with a lot of companies from Asia, like you're from India, right? Right.
So,
Actually,
well, I'm a US citizen, but I migrated from India. Yes.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So actually, we have a company. I mean, these are a couple of people that I know. We invest in the companies based on India. Actually, there's one company I didn't mention it, but this is company serving, you know, IIT. You know that, right? Of course, right? The most smart people in the IIT. This
Yes.
company that yeah, we work with them too. So when Soren mentioned the possibility to bring students exposed to it, you know, we can work together in many different angles, not only South Korea, but we work with companies in India, and then also Pakistan, and then Indonesia, and multiple. So yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I saw Sahara in your list. That sounded like kind of Indian, the blockchain company. But yeah, okay. We'll
we can
talk about that later. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So, all right. So today here I am to kind of throw some light about a non-profit organization. So a lot different than great presentation Hanko just gave. It like a little bit different. It's non-profit. Okay. So basically, the idea is to provide a basic education to underprivileged children. Okay. Oops, how do I do that? Okay. So here's a little bit about me. Again, different than how Hanko introduced. But I'm in IT for like almost all my career, right? 26 years.
Wow.
And I founded this company, EI Vision. Okay, but I'm an avid runner. You know, I run a lot for charitable organizations, you know, and recently I ran for Red Cross. I represented them, and one of my dream was to basically run for in Boston Marathon. So what you see here is the finishing line, and here is my medal. Okay, so
wow.
I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm always nervous when I make a presentation. I thought, throw this picture out there, so I will be excited. So it was like amazing experience. I did it in 18th. But I'm also excited about what they call is ASHA for Education. I have been in volunteer for their St. Louis chapter for maybe 10 years or so, you know. And then I formed this company, EI Vision LLC. My I could throw the logo of that thing. And quite frankly, Professor Nastasia, I was a little bit confused, like whether I'm going to present on a non-profit or profit. But anyway, hopefully I'll get some opportunity to present about EI Vision, which is an IT company I started 26 years ago. And some of things you mentioned, Hanko, in your presentation, blockchain, AI and cloud and stuff. But we'll talk about that hopefully in future. This is my third time. I cannot thank enough to Professor Nastasia to bring me over again. It's always, it just opens my mind. I'm always in learning mode. And of course, share some of the visions. And the reason I put this picture here, there is a reason for that. Of course, I'm passionate about it. Do some charitable. I basically generated $10,000 for Red Cross. They need it right now with what is happening around the world. Those are some of the best people I have come across, some of the best organizations. All right, so moving forward, here is a small agenda I got, right? Basically talk about a particular problem, and then what Asha is a Hindi word, which actually means hope. So then we'll give a little bit brief, quick history about Asha, and then about Asha chapters and what we do, and also the projects and activities we do here in St. Louis chapter. Okay, and I actually had a flyer, the old flyer for one of the favorite marathon program, which I came to this chapter. I got introduced about 10 years ago, so started running, and I realized my dream just a couple of weeks ago, running Boston. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, okay? So, the lack of education is a vicious cycle, right? So basically, more so in, third world or developing countries, right? Not every child is fortunate like we are here. I'm a US citizen here, became US citizen 15 years ago. So there are a lot of underprivileged children, right? So it's like due to the lack of education, they have poverty, so they get into child labor, right? And this cycle goes on for generations, right? Again, the child who is born, again grows, and then there is a lack of education because they, just goes child labor, really, right? And that's where Asha for Education comes in, right? Try to help those kids, okay? We'll talk a little bit about that, So as you know, we are all educated people, Professor Nastasia, and I hear you are like a professor as well, so I feel a little bit, nervous talking in the same panel. But you know what education can do, right? I don't need to explain that. But it brings the awareness of rights, right? If the child is educated, he would know about his rights. Otherwise, he may not. We are educated. I still feel there are a lot of rights which I don't know, and that's so. It's so important for the those uneducated folks to basically educate them what their rights are. And also ability to exercise civil rights. A lot of kids who are doing child labor, they don't know their rights really. For example, they don't get paid appropriately, and so on, right? And of course, it brings them the opportunity to break the vicious cycle we just talked about, right? And then economic mobility, and also gender equality, right? In some parts of the world, we still have, both the genders are not equal. They're treated differently. And I've heard it's prevalent here in the United States. But anyway, And so education can help with all these problems. Of course, it brings overall development, right? So what is ASHA really, right? So it's basically a non-profit, zero overhead organization. So I have worked with several organizations, non-profit organization directly and indirectly. But the best part of ASHA is a zero overhead. So if someone donates, it's like it's a top rating in terms of the expenses. There's no overhead really. Even for the presentation you are saying, like a normal presentation which I got, and as a volunteer I try to change it following the format. So there is no ad you will see, advertisement. There are not so many paid employees as such. So it's run entirely by the volunteers who share the cause, right, to educate the children, right? And it's a non-political. It doesn't align with any political parties or a religion, really, right? And the main goal is like a very simple, and that's what attracted me a couple of years ago. And which is education. It doesn't talk about other things. You can do a lot of things to the child, right? You can give him money, right? I don't know. You can help him with the sports. You can do so many things. You can buy him clothes, for example. It's not about that. It's about educating them, right? So that's what this nonprofit does. Okay. Like I mentioned, basically it means hope. The word ASHA means hope, and it works with NGOs and non-profit organizations in India. So it is focused on India, right? And basically, primarily it works on education projects, and also little bit. I have seen a little bit more these days than. So 90% of the projects are educational projects, but some of them are, related to women issues or healthcare or environment and so on, right? And what ASHA does basically is provide financial support to them. Professor Nastasia was just talking about sustainability. So the way we choose the projects is we see if that is sustainable. And only way to do that is if the volunteers are actively involved in those projects. Directly, they have a heart, they can devote time and things like that. So that's what ASHA members does, right? Okay, so we already talked about nonprofit or. So here is a brief history. It started in Berkeley in 1991. So it didn't start in India actually, right? So it started in USA and basically like I mentioned, educate the unprivileged children. To be honest with you, this 86 number is a little bit old. There are more chapters, all over the world. And the ASHA St. Louis chapter was formed in WashU in 1996. I wasn't the founding member here as well. I just got involved, after some time. Okay, so that was a brief history about ASHA. There are, I'm sorry here. There are several thousand active volunteers in over 80 chapters. I believe it will be more than 80 now. As you can see, it's in London, Melbourne, Zurich, and in India, and all over the world, really. Okay, so that's like a brief, like a highlight where all these chapters are located. You will see a lot of them are, are college towns or things like that, and so that's where a lot of students are involved, basically, right? They come here to give the education, and they feel the need, right, themselves, like we kind of share some common ground, right? The struggle we go through initially, and they tend to compare what kids have here and there. So that's how, some volunteers come up and they talk to the central team and they open their chapters. So there is one here as well in St. Louis. So what basically we do is select educational projects and organize the events, marathons, like a program is one of the event. There are several other events which we organize. It could be as small as like a painting competition and so on. And we basically raise funds to provide them education. Each of those projects has to have a steward, right? And they monitor those projects, right, very closely to make that successful. So nothing fancy here. It's all like volunteers' heart, right? And they extending their time, right? Their own time just to make this world a better place for some of those kids, right? So that's how it works, right? All right. Same thing, in a different way. Like I'm like a volunteer for that event. We have some sponsorships. We publicize it. Like for example today, and then support those projects. Okay. So the way there is a process which we follow, right? And one can find more information how do we on this site. But we basically, it starts with a project proposal, right? And there has to be some preliminary inquiry about that project. So there's a formal process, not like a corporate one, but very close to that, right? And then volunteer team, and there has to be any project. So there is like, there are two parts of it, right? Someone who proposed it, like this is the project going to be, and there has to be a steward, right, who will take it forward, because these projects will actually happen in India, right? So there is so there has to be assigned, stewards for that, right? And then project evaluation, whether we can sustain it. And one of the thing is like site visits, like a very important for like funding, right? Until unless there is no site visits and as such, the funding will not happen, right? And all the things which we do is based on like a voting. It's like a volunteer-based organization. So everyone basically we vote whether this project makes sense. Is it aligned with educating the kids, right? And privileged kids, right? Or not. And then if we feel yes, then we disperse the funding disbursement happens, right? So pretty easy, pretty like a normal, right? Nothing fancy really here. Okay. So here are some of the projects which we currently have, right? Most of it, are related to education, but recently, like this one is related to like hygiene and women health and things like that, right? So we can find, if someone is interested, one can find more about the project. But to give you an example, there is this project which is supporting educating the kids of prisoners. Their kids spend all their life probably in prison, right? What happens to those kids, right? So there is this non-profit organization taking care of their education, right? And we support them. So these are some of the project name. There is this one like a Grow with Books, right? A lot of times there are some kids who doesn't have access to books, like a basic books, right? So there is a project which supports, basically to create a library for them, right? And we have project, again, all of these projects has gone through those vetting process. If it fails, like if there is no steward, it's not moving forward, that project comes to an end with no funding, right? But these are the ongoing projects, and at the St. Louis chapter website, one can find more information about it. Okay, so this is like more about the projects in India. Okay, so this, you might have heard some of the names. Let's say you might have heard Tamil Nadu, right? You might have heard Bangalore. So this one is Hippocampus Learning Project is in Bangalore, and so on. This is near Delhi. Like there is one in Delhi, but there's also a near Delhi, so on. So basically depicting. I don't want to bore you too much with all that, but yeah. So I was just mentioning about some of the things which we do, and I'm more excited about this marathon program. I never thought I will run, right? So the way we do is, like someone invited to that program. I never run in my life. I did some exercises, and I was able to run 1 or 2 miles that day. So say, oh wow, I can do that, right? So this is like kind of interesting. Similarly, there is some other programs called Tarang. Basically, Tarang means is related to music. Just the name of a program based on just a music program to raise funds, really. There is also something called Work an Hour. So basically we reach out to, there are folks like volunteers who can work an hour, basically donate an hour salary, or they can get. So these are some of the, then also we have annual gala, where we have like a dinner program, and we have, basically the volunteers come and they, choose to, if they like some, we explain our idea and some of the projects, and they choose, they sponsor it. And then we have a lot of other event awareness drive and things like that. So these are some of the examples of, and it can go beyond this list. Okay. I had this was a last minute change, but I had a little bit description about how a marathon program looks like. Basically, it runs about 3-4 months program where we help a new runner, and in the event, at the end, we do expect them to reach some funds for Asha, right? So it's like a win-win situation for both of them. Okay. And here is a little bit of information about if someone is interested to reach out to us. So here are some information here. Okay. So mine was really quick, not too boring. So if there is any questions, I can answer that now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any boring information that we had here. It's just that we have to present opportunities for the students. The student that was present online earlier was sending me a link to the opportunities for internships with the World Affairs Council in St. Louis. So I'm always interested, and I'm posting on our Facebook, Twitter account, Instagram account, if I have information about such events, possibilities for internships, for scholarships. So, you never know where you can have somebody interested in the Indian culture, in the Korean culture and language, or they are interested maybe in helping out in any way.
Absolutely.
As I was mentioning before, I have a few students who are interested in that track or specialization of sustainability. And we have another department at the SIUE in the College of Arts and Sciences called the Environmental Sciences. And those people have a lot of collaboration within the campus with professors who specialize in geography, chemistry, biology. But even, you know, there's their chair, I think, is from the political science department. They are all like me. You know, I'm a professor of public relations in the Department of Applied Communication Studies. I'm doing this as a side job as director of the International Studies program to promote, because of my ability to promote things. But I'm also interested in genuinely leading these students towards solutions to the things that they have to accomplish while they are students. And I am always an advocate for not just studying in a course, but studying abroad, experiencing other languages, other cultures, having the opportunity to work through internships, either here with foreign entities or even in their own country, because that's where your knowledge of the world, you know, a student's knowledge of the world will improve. I mean, I draw this information and this experience from my life experience. I come from Romania. I have worked for the Ministry of Culture, for the Ministry of Education of Romania. I have been to India 2 times, to New Delhi.
Wow.
So I've been in person there. I'm waiting for an opportunity to go to South Korea. We'll see if something can be done and put together, but I'm always, you know, looking at what are the needs of the students to accomplish their academic requirements, but also with an eye towards how can they improve their life per se? How can they improve their skills so they can be employable later on? I don't want to throw a lot of studying materials to these students, because nowadays employers look for, you know, what can you do with the knowledge that you have. I'm not on the side of, hey, you have to have, I don't know what fancy diploma or at a fancy university. I know that the person will be the captain of their future, right? As the poem says. But we need to provide these opportunities. And there are opportunities, but they are hidden in your presentations because we need to discover what works for the students and for our university in particular. From the link that I just got from my student, who was my ERCA, my research assistant, but also she did in parallel an internship with the World Affairs Council. And she sent me the internships link where there's their pictures, two students from my international studies program and 2 from Washington University. So I think we are well situated, at least from the point of view of understanding that there is a need for internships, scholarships, study abroad, study foreign languages within the 3 specializations that we have.
Right.
Absolutely. I did email you with my contact information, Professor Nastasia,
yes,
from my technology company. So if anyone is looking for any internship, we'll definitely help there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my email as well on the chat room right now as we speak here. Also, I was gonna mention that Professor Natasha mentioned about opportunities. The like for example, the ESG, the environmental, okay, does not have to be specialized in environmental science or anything like that, okay? Because I've seen in my line of work, people from all the discipline, because to be, for example, the company Dawa to be successful, they'll have to rely on good people who have good marketing people, have a good conscience about environment, right? So those people are not studied chemistry or environmental science in any way, but they can bring great value. As a matter of fact, one of the board member we recruited actually, he was from purely like international studies area from Korea, because this company is going to launch to global stage, and we need somebody who had experience, and we cannot do it all by ourselves, right? So we hired them. Yeah, so something like that. So there's always opportunity like that we can consider, and I think that I just feel that SIU is lucky enough to have a Professor Natasha always try to look after students. I can see that because this is like 4th year. And I see the passion that Professor Tasha you have for the student community. So it's a good thing. So thanks.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
I agree with that. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you have the time, if you're interested, because I see already something that is realized at the SIUE, but again, from somebody who is in the economics department, an instructor in the economics department, tomorrow, I sent you the program, the whole program for International Studies Days. So it's mainly today and tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a keynote speaker from Ukraine who actually was the head. She is Dr. Tetiana Maiboroda, an associate professor in the Department of Management, as well as the deputy director for coordination of collaboration with foreign institutions and for work with international students at the Institute of Business Economics and Management of Sumy State University in Ukraine. Those people are very close to the border with Russia, and they were destroyed in the first phases of the war. So now their university is kind of destroyed. So the students and the professors have gone around the world. She is now on the west coast of the United States living with her son. And she will speak to us tomorrow at 8 o'clock for her time about how they are continuing academic practices virtually during the challenging times of the Ukraine war. They are still maintaining their university and their students and their courses through Zoom, different hours in the world to still have a university,
Wow.
And also very interesting tomorrow from 1 to 2:30 or less than that, we'll see. Laura Wolf, as I said, instructor from Economics and Finance Department, will talk about Passport to Success, new international studies options at the SIUE, about building these relationships with the Andean region of South America. I think this would be a good blueprint for a bilateral collaboration if you want to wrap your mind, Han especially, with something that can be done bilaterally. She already found, I helped her apply for this, and she got something like $150,000 from NHS. But first, they need to go over there and establish some relationships.
Right.
There is an Andean region organization. So Chile, whatever other countries in South America are in the Andes, Peru, and something like that. And they want to use this kind of network to be able later on to bring students to study abroad.
Right. Right.
So think about it. This could be a good blueprint.
Yeah, we definitely should talk more about it. I think there's many ways we can collaborate each other and bring value, especially, like I said, I'm actually in the nonprofit space quite a bit, as you can tell, from economic development to just simple mentoring. So yeah, and also, I don't know, I mentioned this or not, but this evening actually at Venture Cafe, at CIC, Cortex Innovation Center, I'm actually doing another speaking engagement at 5 o'clock today. So if somebody happened to be there today, just look it up. I'm at 5 o'clock at Havana room. Okay, so
I have been there before, and I spoke too, but that was like 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So actually, they just they stopped. They couldn't do this for a pandemic, but they just stopped doing it a couple of weeks ago. So this is one of the big week for them. So I'm one of the speakers to bring value to our community. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think definitely talk.
I know, Han, that you are rushed because of that
Next
lunch meeting. Thank you very much for your time. I will be posting this recording on our Facebook page, and hopefully we can collaborate even more in the future.
Yeah, definitely we should do that. Yeah, and so thanks so much, and nice to meet you, Dave. And
same here.
We'll stay in touch. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, same here. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bye.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you.